This will be our second video of Sunday. He's been here for 2 days, 10 months old. Miniature Australian Shepherd puppy from Blue and Storm. And he lives up in Maryland and he's here staying with me for a week. So doing a little bit of training with him. If you saw the one I did on Come, I'll just briefly tell you this dog has a history of really being leash reactive and barky due to the way a trainer started him when he was 4 months old and kept him segregated from other puppies because he was barky and created a lot of frustration in him. So like when he showed up for the reunion, he was super barky, but you know, when he's on the leash, he'd be real barky. But then when we let him off the leash, he was not barky. So all he wanted to do, he was just frustrated. He wanted to go play with the puppies. But I've taught him not to bark on the leash because he did like to do that. He'd like to bark on the leash. I'm going to pee for you. And people have said, oh, I'd really love to see how you taught him not to bark on the leash. Well, I can't really show you how I taught him not to bark on the leash because every dog is different. But one thing I will do, if the dog is scanning off in the distance like that, is I'll get it by the tail. Good boy. And then when it turns around and looks at me, I'll just pull it to me a little bit and give it a reward. So when he would get barky, I would just, you know, grab his tail and you have to be careful. I'm not telling you to do this because you can get bitten doing that. So I'm telling you what I did with the 10-month-old puppy. But you know, opposition reflex. This is opposition reflex. See him turn around? Towards the pressure on his butt. Towards the pressure on his butt. You know, and then I might just get him like this and just do different things to irritate him, to let him know I'm not happy with the barking. And then when he stopped barking, then I would just praise him. But he's gotten kind of used to the tail pulling. So that's the thing, is when you're teaching them not to bark, when you're doing these corrections, you have to change it up. Because if you keep doing the same thing over and over, they just desensitize to it. So, but he learned it really quick because I am really super direct with my dog. I don't pussyfoot around. And I let them know right away if they're right or wrong. I don't know if you can see, my dogs are all kind of laying in the background. They've learned if I'm making a movie to leave me alone. There's some over there, there's some over there. So I'm very matter of fact with my dogs so they understand. So anyway, this morning we did some work on Come and we talked about conditioning a response. So I'm just going to walk him around, let him get distracted. And I'm doing 2 training sessions on him a day. And somebody wanted to see heel. We'll talk about that. But look at that. Okay. See, it's really hard for me to get away from him now. It's really hard for me to get far enough away from him to call him because he's starting to become hooked to me. He's starting, there he goes, he's starting to hook to me. I'm waiting for him to get good and distracted. So see how he's looking? He's Matt, move. Matt, move. Thank you. Move it. Okay. See, I was just getting ready to give him the little leash pop and he felt my hand come forward and he turned around. So he's getting the idea that I want him with me. Ultimately, to walk when I walk, stop when I stop, keep 4 on the floor, don't bark. And that turns into heel. So see if I can get him to do a little bit of that. I say, let's go. And I'm going to change my direction. Give him 2 or 3 little leash pops. Change direction, pop, pop. Change direction, pop, pop. Move it. Okay, loose leash. In everything that I'm teaching them, good. Scratch on the chest and tell him he's good, no food. In everything I'm teaching them, the leash has to be loose. Now, a loose leash doesn't mean that it's dragging the ground. Hey, what it means is, okay, this is a tight leash, this is a loose leash, meaning the dog isn't getting any information from the leash. That way the dog is never able to pull. All right, so let's go. The only one that's going to do any pulling is me, and it's just going to be a snap. It's never going to be a pull, it's going to be a pop. See how loose that leash is? Pop this way. I don't really say a lot to my dogs when they're on the leash because I'm communicating with them through the leash. If you feel compelled to say heel, knock yourself out. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Very nice. Now see, he's looking up at me, he's giving me all this attention without any food. So that's, somebody asked me about heel. Heel is loose leash walking beside me, moving when I move, stopping when I stop. I don't care if he does a SIT. All I care is that he moves when I move and he stops when I stop. This is not formal obedience. This is pet obedience, meaning he just has to stay in position on my left side, not crossing back and forth in front of me, tripping me, not crossing back and forth behind me, tripping me. My hands are both at my side. The leash is loose. I step away, he doesn't come, he gets a pop. Look out. Yes, you're very helpful, Storm. So this is teaching him to pay attention to me there. That time I didn't have to give him a pop. This is what walking a dog should look like. This is what heel should look like. And if you want to say heel, if that makes you feel good, go right ahead, but you certainly don't need to. He's listening to the leash and he's listening to my body language. Now he's 10 months old. So I'm just going to do that for a few minutes and then I'll just let him run around. You know, he's still on the line, but I'm just going to let him be a dog, do whatever he wants, sniff, pee, poop, whatever, long as he doesn't bark. See, there's rules to all of this. He can't bark and he can't tighten the leash. There's no way I want him to ever pull on this leash. If he was to pull on it, I would stop. We'll pretend he's pulling on it. I'm going to stop. I'll wait for him to come off the pressure. I'll wait for him to come off the pressure. And as soon as he does, I'll start moving again. If he pulls, and then I might change direction because I never want the leash to get tight. If your dog pulls the leash and you take one step in the direction of that pull, you're training the dog to pull. So my criteria, loose leash. Even if he's running around on the long line, he can't be jerking on my arm. So I hope this helps you get started with heel. I am using a slip lead harness, meaning he has a slip lead, it's cloth, it goes over his head and under his left arm. So there's no choking. Until this dog totally understands pressure and release, I am not going to just have it around the neck. I don't want to hurt his neck, I don't want to hurt his trachea, I don't want to scare him, and I certainly don't want to choke him. Got a nice loose leash. I'll stop. He stops, very good, looks up, scratches chest. All right. And you can say if you want, heel, whatever. I just want him to move when I move. Stop when I stop. Keep 4 on the floor. I mean, you know that's my mantra. Walk when I walk, stop when I stop. Keep 4 on the floor. So I hope you find this helpful. We're going to go do a mile before it gets dark. Thanks for watching.